Something amazing. This is Norand Mono, and this is Mathieu who had the idea of this thing. What is it?
So it is an analog mono synth. On the surface, it looks like your classic bassline synth 303 inspired. But once you dig a little deeper, it's a very, very powerful machine with a lot of sequencing features and sound synthesis as well. So maybe I can start with the basics. So you get 2 oscillator, 1 filter. All the parameters, the synthesis parameters here are analog, the whole signal path. But what you get here is that each of the parameters, so you see when I touch it, becomes red here. And actually, when you select a parameters, each of these has its own modulator and envelope. So let's say you want to put an envelope on the volume of oscillator 2, you just select it and turn it on this way. Let's say you want an LFO on the filter, you just select it, apply it there. And you can do that on every single parameters. The LFO goes to audio rate as well. So you can really go crazy and do all sorts of different timbre with that. And that's not even scratching the surface, because there is a very, very featureful sequencer in there. The sequencer is a 64 sequencer, 64-step sequencer, and you have a pattern system. Each pattern has its own patch, so it records the patch, it records the pattern. And what's really big, so this is MK2, by the way, this is the second version, I didn't mention it earlier. And the sequencer changed from the first one. So what you can do with it, you can record anything, you can record notes, you can record automation, you can randomize everything, so you can create random patterns that are always in scale, you can randomize the patch, it's just completely free. And it's...
So how do I control the arpeggiator?
There is actually no arpeggiator, because the thing is, you've got this pattern, and then you just you can just input steps in here. It's just as easy as putting new steps on the sequence, and this is pattern mode. You can go on an empty pattern, add steps like this, or randomize new steps, and there we go. We have a running pattern, and then you can edit the patch. We have a lot of cool features. One of the coolest one for me is the mode notes. When you press mode note, it changes the keyboard, and essentially each of the keys here have a different patch. So you can program a kick drum here, you can program a snare drum here, so on and so forth. And then once you have your kit, you can sequence that. So you can create whole drum sequence using this. It's a simple analog synthesizer on the surface, but actually a lot of people are using it as a drum machine. Know a little bit about MK2. The really cool new feature we have there is that the automation before they were quantized to the step, so only one automation per step. I mean, for each parameters, of course, but only one per step. And now there are high resolution. So let's say you record a frequency automation, so hit record and turn the automation. This one is not connected to the speaker, I'm sorry about that. The automation is actually recorded in a high resolution, so you really get what you play. It's not just per step. And this keyboard here is velocity, pressure sensitive, and X and Y sensitive. So you can pitch bend it and you can go up there like this. And this can also be recorded at very high resolution. Once you've recorded your automation, this is a touch strip. So you can also edit your automation with the touch strip. So let's say you want to imagine that your automation is a curve like this. You can take a point, move it up, down, left, right, and change the intensity of it. So essentially you get all the features, all the cool features that you have in a DAW, but in an analog synth. So
looks very intuitive, very great. It has USB. What can I do if I connect it with the computer?
MIDI. So input, output.
MIDI clock, can I connect the signal?
Yes, absolutely. So MIDI clock, and you can output the data of the sequencer and the data of the keyboard to MIDI and USB. So as I mentioned, the keyboard is velocity and X and Y sensitive, so you can use it actually as an MPE keyboard if you want to
Wonderful.
external stuff or your computer.
I can't wait to have it in my new studio. So looks amazing. Thank you very much.